Good evening and welcome to our special Halloween edition of Watchin' You. I'm Ace Fraley in St. John, New Brunswick, and joining me all the way from Stewiacke, Nova Scotia is...
I'm Paul Stanley.
No, Paul Stanley.
I'm not Paul Stanley.
Well, it's
I don't
late.
know.
What's that?
I don't know if the hat gives it away or not.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does. It's the Expos hat. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a wig, so.
Okay, well, you need something to cover your head.
I do. I really. Nice. The dolphins are attacking again. Don't expect me to do imitations on that because I don't have any Kiss imitations other than the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, it's late October. It's almost time for Halloween. When I think of Halloween, I think of, well, the first thing I think of is Kiss, because it gives me a chance to do what I like to do best, which is dress up like Kiss and go out and have some fun. I'll probably watch a little more Kiss stuff. I'll probably play a little more Kiss music than I normally do. So October is the month for Kiss for me. What about you?
I can't really say that that's the case. I mean, I understand the connection for sure, but I know it's your excuse to put the makeup on, and I have done it many times, over the years, and I think we got a few pictures of that.
We've got pictures of you. I think you're wearing Ace Frehley makeup.
Yeah, Ace Frehley back when I was working at Telephone Banking Center. Yeah.
Yeah. So you and some other office workers were dressed to kill that day.
Yeah, we were, but actually we may could have stir that day. But you're right, Halloween and Kiss go hand in hand for sure, and I totally get the connection. And how many times have you seen people dress up as Kiss? Right? I mean, it's all over the place.
Well, the problem is that I've done it so many times, and I keep doing it again and again and again. And this Saturday we're going up to Moncton to see a band called Love Guns. They're really, really good. And, of course, I will wear my Kiss outfit. And I had some friends one time who said, well, if you wear the same Halloween outfit 2 years in a row, it's really lame. But, I mean, that's pretty much all I want to do is Kiss. And I think if I went as something else, I mean, if I went as a construction worker or whatever, as soon as I see someone in a Kiss costume, I'm going to be envious. And of course, as soon as I see someone in a Kiss costume that's better than mine, I'm envious. So, I see you pouting there.
That's the closest thing I come to an invitation is a 53-year-old Paul Stanley, who was about 30 pounds overweight, with growing bald, with a baseball cap on, doing his pouting lips imitation. That's my favorite imitation. But I can tell you that when I used to wear. I remember the first year I wore the Kiss makeup at the call center. I walked around and I put it on. I was the only one that did it by myself. I didn't have those other three guys with me the first time I did it. I dressed up as Paul Stanley. I had the wig on. Yeah. And I went into the bathroom and I dressed up, and nobody knew that I was doing it. And when I came out, you'd think people would be able to recognize who it was. They had no idea who I was. No idea. I remember I used to smoke at the time. I was out back of the call center having a cigarette, just Paul Stanley, and this guy walks up to me and we're talking. He's looking at me. He's going, "Geez, I know the voice, but I don't know." He didn't know who I was. And when you want to talk about a weird sensation, it was very powerful actually to be able to walk around in broad daylight but still have this anonymity, right, while you were doing it. So it's a very cool thing. Right? And
Kiss enjoyed that anonymity for a good decade or so before they took off the makeup. Now, this time around, everybody knows what they look like, but back in those days, from 73 to 83, they could walk around and not many people knew it was them.
I completely get that.
Yeah, anonymity is a fun thing. It sure is.
When we dressed up, the four of us that time, we met early in the morning. We had an early morning shift. We met at one of the guys' houses. I outlined all the makeup for everybody. I had better makeup than I do now. Yeah. Outlined the makeup for everybody. We all arrived at the call center at the same time. And I remember we arrived at this at this parking lot across the street, underground parking lot. We were walking over, the four of us, just like in the Undressed to Kill album. And these people were driving by, honking the horns and rock and roll. Yeah, and this is like 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah, so it was like we got the biggest charge out. We spent the whole day together. Yeah. The whole day we walked everywhere together. Yeah. And so this should be fun. And I know you have a really this is my bare bones. I mean, I literally went. And Jeff, I used to have all the good makeup, and now I went down. I actually got this stuff. You could probably tell. Got my wife's lipstick on. I went down to the pharmacy here, got all the cheap stuff.
Yeah.
But it's better than nothing, right? And then here, let's compare. So this is the two ways. I'm the before guy, the unprofessional makeup guy, and then there's you. And let's take a look at your outfit. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I fashioned this yesterday out of a piece of cardboard. It went together pretty darn quick.
Anybody notice the difference in my location? I used to be some bad thing. Anybody heard about the explosion that happened in Stewiacke?
Oh, yeah. That's it behind you.
Yeah. Courtesy of Mr. Scott, by the way. Another a beautiful backdrop that he's made for me. You should see it. I took some pictures earlier, Jeff, that I'll share on East Coast Kiss Tribute of the behind the scenes. Cool. Behind the scenes kind of look. That might be good if you had a couple of those pictures, too, to show people, okay, they see you with your love gun thing there, and they see me with this here. Now, what's actually going on behind us here and around us? And it's quite amazing, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I've got sort of a juxtaposition here. I'm wearing my hotter than hell costume in front of a love gun backdrop. So the diehards will get it. The other people couldn't give a shit.
So what are we going to talk about today? What does the Halloween
I really
special mean?
Before we get into Halloween, I really want to acknowledge our last episode 10, where I had a chance to speak with Lydia Chris, and I have to admit, I was nervous asking her. I was nervous calling her. And the recorder wouldn't work, so she's 5 minutes into it, and I said, Lydia, this isn't recording, and she says, oh, no problem, we'll do it another time, and I said, oh man, I don't want to, so I said, give me 10 minutes.
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. So what I did was I went and got my Roland recorder, something I know is going to work. It's a Roland hard disc recorder. And I went and got the thing, and I just ran a line straight out of my mixer into that, and I did a check. I called her back. We had perfect audio. She didn't want to record video anyway because she said she didn't want to have to fuss with makeup and hair, and so she didn't want to do the video. But we got amazing audio. I had a wonderful time chatting with her. If you haven't seen it, it's episode 10. I interviewed Lydia Chris. I said I was going to do it, and I did it, and it's great. And she's so warm and friendly to talk to, and so personable, and we really had a good, warm chat.
Well, you know how this kind of all came about. It was kind of funny because, and it is a great interview, and you did a fantastic job. And it's been on for us, it's a big thing. It's been published now for 2 days, and I just checked it before we get on the air. It's 204 views. Which is only 27 views behind the previous episode, which has been out for a month. So it's taking off quite well. But how it kind of came about, I mean, you always wanted to interview her, and you were very, and you said it over and over again in our show, right? I mean, you kept saying, I'm going to get that interview with Lydia Chris, right? Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to, after the last episode, I sent her our episodes because she seems, like I said, she takes an interest in it. Yeah. And I said, you know what? He said that so many times now. I wonder what she'd say if we just said, geez, Jeff would really like, Jeff is enamored with the idea of interviewing. And I mean, like you said, she's fantastic. She came back and said, sounds good to me. Yeah. And it was just as simple as that. I mean, Jeff, Lydia, Jeff, see ya, have fun, and I really enjoyed it, Jeff. I thought you did a fantastic job, and I can imagine. I was trying to put myself in your shoes because I don't really have too many people in my life that I would kind of be like sort of starstruck by, and I'm trying to say, how would I interview somebody like that? What would that be like? But you were the perfect guy to do the interview because if you look at your knowledge of Kiss itself is way more vast than mine for sure, but your love of those intricacies that she could bring to the table, and anyway, so it was a great interview. We're getting lots of views on it, so you must have felt fantastic.
Yeah, and gosh, I had a thought there and I lost it. Anytime I need to regroup, I'm just going to go.
That's kind of
something you said, and then I lost it. Anyway, it was the thought.
You're going to talk on what I said?
What's that?
About being nervous, or?
No, something she said at the... Oh, okay, you said I was a good interview for that because I knew a lot of the Kiss stuff. And at the end of it, she says that she gets the Watching You podcast because you send her a link every time we put one up. And she says she listens to it, and she's amused by how much we know.
I know.
And it's ridiculous how much we know about Kiss. We shouldn't know this much about Kiss. But I don't feel bad because, look, there's people who know way too much about hockey. There's people who know way too much about professional ball. And I know little about that. I know nothing about that. So I make up for it by knowing a lot about Kiss. Anyway. Why not?
You taught Lydia a little bit about Canadian geography in the process.
I did, yes. We talked Canadian geography a little bit.
I sent her a note after that show. I would seriously watch an episode on YouTube. If she doesn't have a YouTube channel now, she should have one. And I would watch an episode of her making her spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
And I do think she should make, Lydia Chris's sealed with a kiss pasta sauce.
Sealed with a kiss spaghetti sauce.
And on the top, no, pasta sauce. And on the top of the because how bottles are sealed, right?
Yep.
At the top would have a big lipstick kiss on top of it where she ends, Lydia Chris's best, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
She didn't respond to that, but I was intrigued by the whole spaghetti thing. So anyway,
for sure.
That's only a couple days old right now, Jeff. So it's germinating right now, and it's doing really well, getting lots and lots of comments on it. And every comment we've received so far has been very much glowing praise for the interview.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad we got her on the show.
Oh yeah.
So Halloween. So this is really your brainchild, this one for sure, because you were really, like I said, you really associate Kiss with Halloween, and now I do have some associations there. But when you thought of the show, why did you think of a Halloween show? Like what components do you see us talking about tonight?
Well, we certainly want to talk about any references to Halloween that Kiss have used or taken advantage of to further their career. We'll go from the Paul Lynde special right on up through the Mad TV special of '98. We're going to insert some photos. We're gonna, we're just gonna have a celebration. If we only get 30 minutes out of this, then fine. But we want you to grab a Snickers. Or one of those awful orange and black Halloween candy kisses, or whatever. We'll get in the mood, whatever you need. Put some cobwebs over your computer, go grab a cup of your favorite brew and witch's brew and get comfortable and get in the Halloween mood and we're just gonna have a Halloween celebration tonight.
And I think the goal of this is we're gonna air this on the 28th, I think.
Say that again.
We want to air this special on the 28th. Is that what you said before?
I think, it's scheduled to air on October 28th, so it gives you a few days to get in the Halloween mood and get some Kiss makeup on and celebrate Halloween. I got a question for you, though.
Sure.
I'm looking at myself here on the big screen, and I'm wondering now, do I look more like Ace Frehley or do I look more like Tommy Thayer?
With the hair, you know who you look like more like? You look like the Ace Frehley, the girl who plays Ace Frehley in Kisser.
I look like the girl from Kisser. Listen, if you said I look like
because
Tommy,
of the hair,
if you said I look like Tommy Thayer, I was going to take it as a compliment. Now I look like a girl.
No, it's the hair, because Ace Frehley. When you put Ace Frehley makeup on, the hair is critical.
Oh, yeah.
When it's straight like that, it just doesn't. It doesn't look. It has to have that sort of part, that that arch at the top with the part down the side. Yeah. Anything other than that doesn't look right. Like a frizzy hair doesn't look right. No. You know what I mean? But what's interesting about that is it shows how iconic the imagery is of these guys, right? Gene has to have that clump. Paul has to have that frizzy hair, right? Peter's hair was sort of different, but it was always the same, and then except of course the Elder era there, but no, you're right. Yeah, that's I would say closer to Tommy, and a cross between Tommy and the Asian girl who plays Ace Frehley in Kisser.
Okay. Interesting observation there. But
so
I'm trying to get my costume on straight here.
Do I look more like Paul Stanley or Paul Stanley, like young Paul Stanley or old Paul Stanley?
Well,
or do I look more like Liberace? Take your pick.
I don't know. You look like some kind of a fish with a black eye. To be honest, I have to apologize to the people out there. This is probably the worst Skype connection we've ever had. So right now, Jeff, you're nothing but pixels, and your audio. I've probably had to say what or pardon a few times. It's not very good tonight, but we will persevere and we'll move ahead. So
you sound good to me, and it'll come out a little different in the wash anyway, Jeff.
Yeah.
A lot of time, that always works that way on Skype, and so don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Paul Lynde Halloween special, 1976. Where were you?
Well, we talked about this once before.
Yeah, we did.
And I can't remember which episode it was.
Well, it was the Phantom episode, and we kind of used it as a sort of like a header to show how Kiss was made for television appearance, and how well they fit on the Paul Lynde special. And we talked about that for just a short bit, and then we jumped right into to discussing the Phantom of the Park.
Right. The Paul Lynde special for me, you asked me where I was, and it was, like I said, the same thing I would have said then. I was like, I remember it distinctly because I had never seen Kiss up to that point in moving. It was always in photos. I've never seen video movie or anything, whatever was available at the time. Never saw them on TV. So I remember being with some high school buddies, and that was a big deal. We literally went there, sat around the living room, and just waited for the show to come on. And for the first time ever, I saw these guys. The guys who were my heroes at the time, come to life. And I mean, they were larger than life.
Oh, for sure.
Paul Stanley, choreography, racing around Gene Simmons and his demonic glory. Ace Frehley with his Frehley-esque coolness. Some of the guitar moves he was doing, and and like you said, that show was just so cool for them. It
was, and it was corny at the same time. I mean, they were this groundbreaking new band. I mean, it was like 1 degree away from being punk. It could have been a huge movement. They're playing some kick-ass stuff. Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, but it became corny at the same time. I mean, Ace is feeding back his guitar, and then the whole guts of the amplifier fall out. And but then Gene does the fire breathing, which is really kind of cool. And then later on, they talk with Paul Lynde, and they're doing these really, really bad, corny jokes. Well, Paul Lynde is, and of course Kiss just have to pretty much go along with it. I mean, they're the special guests, and they're lucky to be on national television on a big show.
I thought he was pretty good, though. Actually, I thought it was.
Well, I like Paul Lynde. His corniness is what makes him funny.
Yeah. He's like, he had Witchy Poo there, and from HR Puff and stuff. And, but that was, and you talked to, and it's interesting. You talked to Lydia about that a little bit too, and she recalled that distinctly. How a lot of people, you mentioned to her how that was really a iconic moment for you, and she said it was for a lot of people.
It was, because I think it's where a lot of people came on board. I came on board a little bit later, but I certainly took notice. That show was on, and I saw it live, and I said, wow, that's really different, to see this band come out. But what I really liked was Beth, and our station in Newfoundland. They made a habit of running a lot of music between shows. I don't know if maybe they couldn't sell enough commercial time. I don't know what it was. But I guess they had the technology, the recorders, to record things. And they recorded Beth from the Paul Lynde show. And they would often run it where you'd run a commercial spot between television shows. And we saw this over and over again. They certainly didn't play Detroit Rock City or King of the Nighttime World. But Beth got played a lot, and we really came to associate Peter Criss with Beth. We all assumed he played the piano because he's sitting at the piano. And I had to ask Lydia, and I heard it right from her mouth. I said, does Peter play piano? She says, no, he doesn't play piano.
Okay, it's good that you're far enough away from me that I can't grab you by the neck. So, but it's you said that before, that it was sort of, they kind of had to put up with it. But I think they surpassed the show. I think that shows you, to me, it shows how real they were at the time, because even the corniness of that show couldn't knock down the kick-ass ballsy performance that they did on the show. I don't care how corny the show was around them. Their image and their essence surpassed that in that show. Even though it was recorded, they were the precursor of Britney Spears, right? They were lip syncing.
Yes,
but it was still absolutely kick-ass.
Oh yeah, and the whole point was to promote Destroyer. So you got 3 big hits from the Destroyer album. Where it's not live, you're going to get, that perfect studio sound. And they're in their prime. I mean, Paul just looks so, trim and fit. Well, Paul still looks trim and fit, but I mean, he's all of 23 years old, and they're in their prime, and they just look so good. It's almost like as if they said, if we spend 40 minutes doing our makeup for a show, we're going to spend 2 hours doing our makeup for this, national television show where millions of people are going to see us and up close. The camera's going to be right in your faces. I mean, they really looked perfect. Their hair, their makeup, their costumes, the moves, everything were just so well done. What I hate is just the campy rolling camera. So you get Paul, and then the big lips come in, and you remember that?
Yeah.
And then the camera rolls 360 degrees. And you think, well, that was stupid. And what does it do? It rolls back the other way 360 degrees. Or 180. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. They, I don't know. It was again, it was a fantastic moment for them. But, I know what I was thinking. I was thinking that that's one of those moments, though, that I often compare, and I'm not going to, I promised I wasn't going to whine anymore, and I'm not going to, about today, but it's one of those moments that I really do compare, like today versus then, in terms of meaning, if you look at like Paul Stanley is a perfect example. The way he came out when they first did, I think it was Detroit Rock City, he comes, I don't even know what kind of movie he does. He does this little skip, he comes out, right? But the energy level is like at a 10. Yeah. And he's trying, now today he's just kind of, it's almost like he's on an elliptical machine, right? But I understand why. It's just that that's the comparisons that I have in my head. Because I saw that live, that's what stuck in my brain. And then also the Midnight Special show, the energy and the youth of that thing compared to what they do today is, I can't help myself but see the two things side by side, because that was so powerful and so well done.
I didn't see the Midnight Special, and I'm guessing that it came on at midnight. Was that its slot? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of like that's sort of like a question I get asked by a doctor one time. He says, "What time?" He asked me about. I thought I was being a prick. He asked, "What time do the fireworks start?" And I said, "When it gets dark."
When it gets dark, yeah.
What time's the Midnight Special?
So if the Midnight Special did come on at midnight, the difference there is that you have a live performance, which is not going to be as perfect as the studio. If it's at midnight, it's a very select audience. However, the Paul Lynde special was prime time.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, being a Halloween special, you got kids watching. Now, who's going to get hooked into Kiss in 1976? The 11, 12, 13-year-olds. That's how old I was when I jumped on board. When I was 13 years old, I was hitting puberty, bang, and I needed something special in my life that I could call my own, and Kiss was it. I mean, I just jumped into that head first, and Paul Lynde was one of the vehicles which brought Kiss to me, because I didn't have access to it any other way. I mean, it was hard to get records in Newfoundland. We didn't have many records to choose from.
And it wasn't offensive in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, it was accessible. I mean, at one point people were afraid of it, but that was pretty early on. But by this stage, I think they were becoming more acceptable, more mainstream, and this certainly helped them. As you said, like that would have led to the 76-ish Destroyer would have led into Love Gun, which would have led into sort of the more campy merchandising, kids being involved. A lot of kids look like this, and
Kiss Your Face by Remco.
By Remco. I still have that video that you gave me, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So, the Paul Lynde special, that was fantastic, and that led us into The Phantom, I think, right? The House of Horrors?
Just to go back to Paul Lynde very, very briefly and wrap it up, I think that it worked, because if you put any other band on there, would it work? I mean, if you put Elton John on there.
Alice Cooper would be the only other one.
If you put Donnie and Marie on there. I think Donnie and Marie were in that special. Have you watched the whole thing?
Not since then.
Okay, it's really bad. I downloaded the whole.
Everything was bad.
It's 90 minutes. I think it's 90 minutes, which is quite long. Anyway, I
All
thought,
variety shows
how
are
do
like that.
Kiss fit into the rest of it? And there's this whole subplot with Tim Conway as like a truck driver or something. So there's a lot of scenes in these little highway greasy spoons, and it's like, geez, just get back to that really cool mansion and all the cool people in costume and Kiss. It's really bad.
Like I said, the only band I can think that would have fit in at all would have been Alice Cooper.
Cooper, right? Maybe David Bowie if he had been dressed up in
maybe
costume.
David, yeah. At the time, right.
But Kiss was just a perfect fit for that, and I mean the whole premise is that, Witchy Poo or Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch from Oz, is that she's kind of in league with Satan. She lives in the underworld. She's the queen of the nighttime world, and Kiss are her best friends. It's her favorite band, and
right.
It's almost like Kiss came from the utter depths of darkness, and they are evil incarnate, and they are in league with witchcraft and whatever, and they really were the perfect fit for that show. I can't see any other band fitting there. I think had the show come out 2 years earlier, like maybe 1974, they might not have, because by this time they weren't really a household name, but I think they had a little more popularity. They needed some sense of popularity in order for them to put them on that show.
I wonder, again, this is one of those things that we look back on, with real fond memories of it, but I dare say that it would have probably suffered the same fate in the overall media world that the Phantom would have. I mean, it wouldn't have been seen as a great special, I wouldn't think, at the time. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. It would have been, as you said. But there was a lot of stupid shows. That, the campy, like you said, Donnie Marie. I'm a little bit country.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit rock and roll.
We watched that. I mean, we only had 2 channels. So I mean, Donnie Marie was probably better than what we thought was on CBC. we didn't know the value of CBC at the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
CBC is something you appreciate as you get older.
Yeah, and
Canadian Broadcasting Company for people.
Thank you.
Who are not living in Canada. Yeah.
They're not living in Canada, so it's
you were going to mention the Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park.
Well, yeah. I mean, we talked about that before. We talked about the House of Horrors.
Mm-hmm. That is, to me, that's my favorite part of the movie. I mean, there's some good parts and there's some really bad parts. But when they get to that House of Horrors, my God, that is so cool. The Frankenstein is really bad, and some of those pop-up things or whatever are really bad. But it's cool because it's that atmosphere. It's that dungeon. It's almost like it could be a replica of the set for the Paul Lynde special. It's Kiss fits with something like that, and I just love that segment.
Yeah, I think that just for your information, the Phantom of the Park, which is episode 4 or 5.
I think it's episode 3.
No, 3 is the St. Peter celebration.
Oh, it could be.
It's 4 or 5. But anyway, it's our most viewed episode. Mm-hmm. It's the last time I checked, it was over 888 views.
880 views. Wow.
888.
Say that again.
888.
888. Incredible. That's amazing because I think that Kiss Meets the Phantom has for those who saw it in the 70s, that's like I say, it was an event. It was a special memory for people, and I think it holds a special place in Kiss fans' hearts, even if Kiss don't like it and don't acknowledge it a whole lot, because it is kind of campy and bad. But Kiss fans really remember that event, and I think it's special.
Well, when we talked about the Elder, there's these things these moments, Pauline, the Phantom, and the Elder itself. Those 3 things are probably the most, and even you could also lump in the whole Unmasked era, without the makeup, and that whole era. All these things that we kind of cringe at, when we look back on them, they're really special milestones that are really important that make, actually, in the long run, after 40 years, actually makes the history more interesting. Imagine if they just stayed the same for 40 years.
I know. One of our regular viewers, and someone I chat with quite often, is Chris Medic.
Yes.
Or is it Medic? I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Medic,
yeah. I know we had this debate earlier. He has been working. He's a graphic artist, and
there's no debate. That's how he says his name.
Yeah,
so you know.
And he has sent us some really cool Kiss Halloween related art imagery. So
Yeah.
So we're just going to throw some of those up on the screen as
well,
we're talking.
That's one that got a lot of attention. You started it with, taking off on Gene Simmons selling his chewed gum.
Yeah,
you did some artwork on that. He picked up on it.
Yes,
and he took it to another level.
Love gum.
It was love gum.
Well, mine was I just found a piece of chewed gum online and stole it, and I made this little sign that said, "Now available on Kijiji." I don't know if people outside Canada use Kijiji or not, but it's it's an online buy and sell.
Yeah.
Now available on Kijiji. Jeff Scott's chewed gum, $3 or best offer.
But then he comes out and does the love gum thing, right?
Love gum.
And then he love gum, and then he comes out with another one, and you can show that it's on our East Coast Kiss Tribute Facebook page, and it's got four new flavors of love gum, and it's got Gene and Paul, and it's got Tommy, and it's got Eric on it. I remember him asking me if he should do the original members. I said no. Actually, I said no because I said really the band that is the way it is right now. I said it is a lot like gum. It tastes real good at first.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right, love gum.
Love gum. I really love you, baby.
I really chew you, baby. I blow bubbles.
That's what you got.
Halloween, keep it real. Actually, Halloween.
We should have a competition for the best, for the person who writes in with the best interpretation of Love Gun lyric using Love Gum. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Phantom.
And it's kind of Kiss took the makeup off there in around '83, and by that time I was still in high school, but shortly after that I was out in college, and I certainly went to my share of Halloween parties, and you don't really see a whole lot of Kiss makeup or Kiss characters. I mean, it really kind of almost had its time, and that fad kind of went. And I've often talked about on this show what I call my Kiss Renaissance, and it's where for almost 10 years I just didn't even think of the band. I just didn't really. I didn't buy their records. I didn't really care who was playing lead guitar, whether it's Mark St. John or some new guy named Bruce. I mean, I took notice sometimes, but I just wasn't a fan at all. Around '93, when Kiss My Ass came out, I had this Kiss Renaissance. My God, it was my turn to start learning this stuff because I'd never really learned to play the Kiss stuff on guitar. So it was before I was married and had kids. I just had time on my hands, and I sat down and started playing Kiss records again and really listening deep into the music and learned to play the stuff. Kiss My Ass was exciting. And, the first thing I wanted to do was start putting on Kiss makeup. So sometime around 94, 95, we went to a Halloween party, and I wore a Kiss makeup, and people looked at me as if to say, yeah, that's so cool, Kiss, that's retro. Whereas if I had done something like that in 1983 or 84, people looked at me like, Kiss? I mean, come on. Are they still around? That kind of thing. But you wear it in 93, 94, people say, Kiss, cool.
It definitely wouldn't have had the same impact because they were just coming out of the makeup era.
Yeah.
You talk about people wearing Kiss makeup and their impact. I shared a picture of my parents and my aunt. I think it was 1980.
Completely lost your audio there.
My parents and my aunt. Yeah, I shared a picture on East Coast Kiss Tribute of my aunt and my mother and my father dressing up as Kiss. And I think you might have seen that. I'd taken some old photos I found when I went home one time, and I just took pictures of them and put them on the site. So they had my mother's makeup. She was as Ace Frehley, and her makeup was like spot on.
Yeah.
My aunt's was Paul Stanley, so she was pretty much right on. My dad, I don't know what he was wearing, but he had some kind of black outfit on that was obviously my mother's or my aunt's. But he had like red, his makeup was all backwards. He had like black lips and red, bat wings on his face, and his tongue was hanging out. But these are my parents, right? In 1980. I didn't even know they did it until years later. I found the photos. They're closet Halloween kissers, right?
Yeah. I asked Lydia if she ever, just for fun, put on one of Peter's costumes and did up her face for Halloween, and she says, nope, never. She never once did any of the Kiss characters in makeup. She one time put on whiteface because she had a Japanese, I guess it's called a kimono.
Geisha girl.
and she went out as in Halloween as a geisha girl, but she also said that a question that the fans often ask her is whether she's done it with the makeup on, and she never did answer that. So
yes, she did.
I don't think she did. I played it back, and I said she never really answered the question.
Yes, she did. She said she never did.
Oh, okay.
She emphatically said.
I'll have to play it back again.
Yeah, you're in the moment. You don't remember. I was a fan while listening to the interview, right? So, she definitely said. No, she said definitely. I know I'd never. And I was surprised how open she was about things like that. Actually,
I know. Yeah.
But that was she definitely said no. She never wore the makeup, and she never had. Well, obviously, if she never wore the makeup, she wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So.
So, Kiss reunited in '96 with the original lineup, and then we're on tour, worldwide tour, and it was so cool. I mean, Kiss were retro, but they were cool again, at least amongst Kiss fans. And I think the general public certainly took notice of the fact that Kiss are back doing what they did in the '70s. So things kind of come back around. 20 years later, something is cool again. In '98, they released Psycho Circus. And they were guests on Mad TV, and I remember Halloween fell on a Saturday that year, so it was '98, and of course we had plans. I had a Kiss costume on, and we went out. But they were going to be on Mad TV, and they were also appearing at Dodger Stadium, and that was a 3D show. And I actually have glasses. I should have had them out for this, but anyway. I found on eBay these 3D glasses with, it says Halloween Kiss Dodger Stadium, 1998.
Did you buy them?
They appeared, and I videotaped the whole thing and watched it the next day, but they appeared on Mad TV. It was their Halloween special, and then after that they showed some of the concert live on TV. Did you check out any of the Mad special?
I haven't yet. Tell me about it.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't had time.
Oh my God, it's the coolest thing. I mean, it's like, well, Mad TV. It's kind of like it's a takeoff on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
I don't think it had the success of Saturday Night Live. But
no, it was very much a cult following.
Yeah, but
I really enjoyed.
They had the regulars, and it was almost presented in the same kind of fashion. But Kiss were their special guests, and they did these really. I don't know, I guess they're kind of cool and kind of campy at the same time, but they did these great sketches with Kiss. One of them, they attacked Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson, this is before he died, and there was that whole pedophilia thing. So, Michael Jackson had his army of little boys, and Kiss had their Kiss army, and they actually blew up Michael Jackson. It was quite funny.
I meant to go see that actually because you mentioned that you wanted to talk about it, and I haven't got a chance to go look at it, but I absolutely will. I mean, Mad TV is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. To have Kiss on there doing that, I'm laughing just thinking about it now. I mean, just it's a thriller, all right,
Yeah.
But that does a tie in with Michael Jackson on Halloween too, right?
Yeah, and whoever, I think it was a female cast member, and she did Michael Jackson incredibly well. The other sketch was one of the young female characters was getting ready to go to the high school prom, and the doorbell rings. She said, "That's my date." So in walked the four members of Kiss.
I saw that.
Yeah, and the father was like, "Well, I know what Kiss are all about. You're not dating my daughter, And she's like, Daddy, don't. You're ruining my date."
I remember that part.
And then the other one, there's this kid playing with these action figures, and the other kid is sort of bullying him and stomps on his action figures, and they said, you need bigger action figures. You need Kiss. And of course, they walk in like robots. Like someone walked up with a key in their back, and they kind of march in like robots. And the little kid's going like, "Wow, cool!" Like life-size Kiss action figures. And the punchline is, the mother comes in and she says, "Daddy's away for the weekend. Can I borrow your Paul Stanley doll?"
I saw that coming a mile away. Yeah, I knew there was going to be something. Oh man, how long have you been working?
Oh, can
on
I do
that,
can I do my Ace Frehley imitation from the Tom Snyder interview?
Can I stop you?
No.
Do it.
Okay, so you say, I have a piece of pipe backstage I'd like you to take a look at. Go ahead.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
What am I supposed to say?
Yeah, you say it.
I said I have a. What am I supposed to say?
You say, I have a piece of pipe backstage I'd like you to take a look at.
I have a piece of pipe. Oh, right. Yeah. I have a piece of pipe backstage I'd like you to take a look at.
Tell me about it! Well, I almost lost my balance.
I'm a plumber.
I'm a plumber. Actually, I'm a trout player.
Trout bass player. Yeah, that's right, the bass player. Yeah, good Ace. Yeah, you never know. That'd be. Geez, I wonder if those guys would ever do an interview like Ace or Peter or something like that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your audio. Say that again.
I said. I wonder if I wonder if Ace or Peter or someone like that, if they'd ever consider doing an interview someday.
That would be the ultimate. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. I don't know how I'd ever. And the question is, why would they? I mean, it had to be something in it for them. Mm-hmm. I don't think they do anything without it something being in it for them. Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, have they been on some of the other talk shows? No.
And I think anyway, that's a topic for another day. I think it's just curious though, because you never know. I mean, I think obviously there was something in it for Lydia. We wanted to help her promote her efforts in her book.
Exactly. I mean, this book. I mean, every Kiss fan should have it, and I mean, of course she wants to sell books, and but from my point of view, I think that everyone should have her book because it really is the ultimate Kiss fan piece of memorabilia. It's an amazing book. It's so much better than some of the other books that are out right now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's quite evident that you're in love with her. We all know that. So,
yeah. So they appeared on the Mad TV special, and again, it was a good fit. It was their Halloween special. They were just on they're just gearing up or well into the Psycho Circus tour. So that was good exposure for them to appear on a national TV.
So think about this. I've heard this said before. It's like, if you go see a band live, aren't they already 3D?
What's that?
If you go see a band live, aren't they already 3D?
Yeah, I know. Like, what's 3D?
I know it's a joke.
Why wear the glasses?
I know that they have the supposed to be the special effects and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And anyway, we should do a show in 3D.
Yeah.
So we're a little goofy tonight. I think it's the makeup is going in my pores.
It's goofy because I've been eating too much Halloween candy and I got all this sugar racing through my body. And
Now, speaking of Halloween,
yep.
I don't know if do you want to do a shameless plug for Vampire Symphony?
Well, I could. I mean, I don't know how many people out there could take advantage of this, but I shouldn't say recently made. I've been making a film, which is it's a very unique adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's set to original music, which I wrote and recorded for it. Nobody speaks in it. There's no dialogue in it at all. It's all just action and mayhem choreographed to music. So we showed it last Thursday at a theater here in St. John, New Brunswick, and it's going up again night after tomorrow, which is Thursday night. By the time you see this, it will have gone up twice. So I could certainly insert a few clips here. We certainly had a lot of fun doing it. This ties in with Halloween. We staked some vampires, and we had lots of blood flowing, and we creeped around graveyards, and it was fun shooting it, no doubt about it. I had more fun in the editing process because I could just sit alone with a cup of coffee and just hammer out my ideas.
I brought it up because I do think that part of the show is we do it for. I mean, we've started this show just for something to do, and we do it for ourselves. And part of the show, and we've made some friends to the show for sure.
Yeah.
So, but it's also part of this show is about who we are, and that's who you are. And you're an artist, and and you're a filmmaker now. And is there any chance that it's gonna, like, you're gonna upload it to the internet anywhere so people can see it, or what's the plans for that? We won't go too, I mean, you can do what you want with this segment if you want to keep it going, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's going to go. I mean, there's festivals I want to put it in, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I want to clean up. So I'm thinking I may reshoot some footage. Definitely want to redo some music. I know, like, in order to get this thing on the screen last Thursday, I had to put in music that I didn't want to include because I had used the makeup on the stage play and I didn't really like it. So it was a matter of getting the thing on screen, and I just had to put something in there. I just didn't have the music recorded that I wanted to record. So I want to put this in festivals. At some point in time, yes, it will be online. Like when it's been through a few festivals.
Well, let's keep it on the docket here, and so as you're making progress with it, I'll share it. I know there'll be some people who watch the show that'll be interested in that. I am very interested in seeing it myself. I've seen some of the trailers.
Yep.
But it's very. The reason I brought it up is because I think that it's a theme for you too, and as a Kiss fan. Halloween. You were on the Halloween theme. Obviously, you have a bit of a fascination with such things, horror.
Yep.
Not unlike Mr. Simmons. You like the macabre. It all comes together. So to me, it's relevant to this show.
Yeah. And my interest in horror and science fiction and the macabre certainly is not influenced by Gene in any way. I don't really care for Gene as a person myself. He's not my favorite member of Kiss. I think he's a little bit full of himself. Of course, everybody knows that. No, I mean, this before I even knew who Kiss were, I was just absolutely fascinated with those old Universal monsters, the Dracula, the Frankenstein.
I just mean, I don't mean directly. I just mean that certain people have certain tastes. I was somebody else on YouTube the other day. It was I can't remember her name. She said, Kiss brought out the artist in her, and she's got a band. Anyway, I'll think of it sometime. But like for me, for instance, if I look at my progression of music that I listen to, if I look back to the early '70s, I was actually into soul music.
Yeah.
At that time, I was into Earth, Wind and Fire, Ohio Players, all that kind of stuff, right? Then I got into rock, and once I got a hold of Kiss, I saw. Well, first of all, I saw Alice Cooper. So there was Alice Cooper. So he had an image, and he had a certain. So it was more than just the music. Now it wasn't just songs. It was this presentation. Yeah. It was this event. And then Kiss came out, and it took it to another level, and then. Really, in the 80s, there really wasn't anything similar to it. But then in the 90s, Marilyn Manson kicked it up a notch, did the same thing. I'm a big Marilyn Manson fan, and so I just go right in my face there. Now I could be like Marilyn Manson. But see, there is a theme there. There is a theme of imagery, shock value. Manson's a lot more social commentary. But then I went on from there to Slipknot. And that's it's another sort of masks, potential serial killers, it looks that way, right? So this whole theme of the music having some kind of drama tied to this very scary, I don't even know what you want to call it, imagery of some sort that, I almost need more than just the music now.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, and can you compare Kiss to Cooper, Slipknot, and Marilyn Manson? And I think that I don't think Kiss really went in that horror movie direction. I mean, if you think about a song like God of Thunder, that certainly approached it with the sound and the sound effects and the imagery in that. It really certainly really approached that. Think about Gene Simmons at the very beginning of his solo album, all those horrific satanic sounds. And then it jumps into Radioactive, which is really light and kind of rock and rollish. But I mean, Kiss were never really about the horror movie thing, and I'm surprised because Gene Simmons being such a big buff, it was almost more about the sex and the party all night.
but for the time, it's not just the horror; it's also the shock value. They definitely had shock value, and for their time. Now today, it's extraordinarily tame compared to that, but at the time, when Kiss came out, they had huge shock value. Not Alice Cooper had shock value. They picked right up on that. No question. That's what I'm saying. All these bands for me have some kind of imagery, some kind of presentation that takes the music up to a whole nother level. And anyway, this was just a side thought on my part as we were talking about this.
So I mean, Kiss wouldn't be Kiss without the makeup. I mean, the makeup is what made them unique and different, and I don't think they would have made it on the Paul Lynde special if they didn't look the way that they did. And if you look at old pictures of Kiss, you can really see how the makeup evolved. I mean, with someone like Paul Stanley, he changed it, quite a bit from the raccoon gold style raccoon eyes to a star. If you look at Gene's makeup in the early days, that certainly evolved from something kind of simple and block-like to something very much more ornate and horny. I hate to use the word horny. Horned.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
The bottom part of the makeup certainly evolved. Peter's changed.
There was definitely something in Gene's makeup that was subtle because, and it might not have been the makeup, it just may have been his attitude. Because he definitely is sort of like from that San Francisco show, we talked about that before, 1975, is it, in San Francisco? Yeah. And then compare that to, say, Destroyer Tour and the character and the makeup. The makeup looks a lot different. I don't know, I'm trying to think why it looks so different. But it does, even though I know it's not that different, right? And now it's even different. It's much more vertical. I noticed
it's
on him,
very vertical, and I'm not sure why. It almost seems like it's very squeezed and compressed into the front of his face. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I know why.
Why?
Because he's fat.
And
that makes you look thinner.
I guess by making it more vertical, it probably makes his face look thinner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like, if you have any vertical lines going through a Y, make the vertical lines compress it. And I would absolutely say that's part of why they do it.
Yeah, there's times in Gene Simmons' makeup in the last, recent times, it just looks wrong. It doesn't look right.
It looks like you would see on someone who was you see sometimes in these cover bands, right? These tribute acts. Every once in a while, there's a Gene Simmons who has, obviously doesn't have the same body type and the face type, and so the makeup has got this big vertical thing going on, right? Right. It either goes one or the other, either that or compressed, right, downward. So it's tough thing to get right.
It is, and Paul looks consistent. He really does. Once he got the star, I mean, that didn't really change a whole lot, did it?
It's tough. I noticed what was interesting about the star is it's hard to get it to look right on your face. And I heard him talk about that, and I didn't really mess around with the top of it too much. I'm like, well, there's my beautiful head. See? But the star, in order to get it to look right from every angle, is really difficult. And
the funny thing, like when I first started looking at Kiss in the '70s, like you know it's a star, but you don't see that whole star because the hair really is covering a lot of it.
Yeah, that's why my hat is almost replicating that, right?
But yet it's still a very symmetrical looking star. I mean, he has it drawn on well every time, and I think his makeup is certainly the easiest. I know when I do Paul's makeup, it's easy to do. I can whip it on so fast. I decided to do Ace Frehley tonight, and I know that you were waiting for me to get online, and I thought, why did I choose this one? This is as intricate or more than doing Gene Simmons makeup.
You get that silver on the inside of the block. I didn't notice, did you do the eyeshadow?
I used a little bit of blue, but I think the blue is so light that it's actually blending in with the silver.
And the blue was a later incarnation, right?
Yeah, if you look at earlier Kiss, like 73, 74, Ace was using the silver on his eyelids, so it was complete silver right to the to the edge of the eyelid, and that gave him some problems. That silver makeup. If you ever watched Wizard of Oz, I'm not sure who plays the Tin Man, but the original Tin Man I think was Buddy Ebsen from Beverly Hillbillies, and he had such a reaction to the silver makeup that they had to recast whoever plays the Tin Man.
I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah,
I was going to say Ray Bolger, but I think he did the Scarecrow.
That's right. It was, gosh, I can't think of his name now. But anyway, I think it was the guy from Beverly Hillbillies who was originally cast as the Tin Man.
Buddy Epson.
Yeah. Talking about the makeup, I had a thought on that a second ago, and now it eludes me. Oh, Halloween, yeah. I don't do Peter Criss very often. But a couple of years ago, we had a Halloween party at my friend's house. And I'm just trying to think now if it was last Halloween. Anyway, I decided just for shits and giggles, I'm going to do Peter Criss, which I rarely do. And I wore a suit and a tie. I wore a green tie, and to honor Peter's color. And it's just, we got a few pictures taken. We went to karaoke, and I sang Beth. Anyway, that was so we started at this Halloween party, and then we ended up at a karaoke, but. I just didn't feel like putting on the boots and the spandex and the leather and the chains and the studs and oh my God, I've got Kiss costumes that are, I'll insert pictures here, of course. But it is a job to get into it, and I think I'm going to wear the Gene Simmons costume again this weekend, mainly because there's some prizes up for grabs and I think I've won before with that costume, so
it's it's probably your best one.
Yeah, it's the best one, so I'm going to wear that. No, I just wanted to be comfortable, so I did Peter Criss makeup. I threw on a suit with a green tie, and we had a good time. So there's the pictures of me and Peter Criss makeup. And it was funny, we drove through a Wendy's on the way home because it was late. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, come on, let's get a burger. I'm hungry. So we go to the first window, and these are just teenage kids, right? And the first kid says, "Are you like some kind of cat?" And then I go to the second window, and they said, "Are you like one of those Kiss guys?" Anyway, different generation.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think that anyway, it's been fun. I mean, what I can do with my makeup, I don't know if you realize, but I can go from being Paul Stanley to being Alice Cooper in 2 seconds, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. So
I don't know if I have any pictures of it, but there's times when we performed as a band on Halloween, and just in the spirit of it, I put on my Gene Simmons costume, but I didn't do Gene Simmons makeup. I did sort of a Cooper makeup. I did whiteface, but the eyes were like Cooper. I don't know if I have any photos of that, but it's fun sometimes to just play around with it. And Jennifer doesn't like the white face, so she often will just wear, maybe just some silver around the eyes, and she'll say, "Don't make it like Ace, just make some kind of design." So I'll do a design and just paint it in silver, and she's happy with that. But for me, I'm a purist, man. I got to do one of the characters.
I'm getting pretty ugly here.
Well, I can see that. And just a word on makeup. The silver I have on is not a very good one. I kind of found it in an old makeup kit. But the clown white that I use and the black that I use are all grease paint, and it's what Kiss uses, and it's not going to sweat off. It's certainly going to stick better. The first time I wore the clown white, the grease paint, my wig was stuck to my face the whole night, and I was just constantly pulling it off. I'm kind of doing it tonight, but not as it doesn't stick as much tonight because I powdered it, and that's the trick. You can put on this stuff. And I read this in an article. Paul was talking about how they put on the Kiss makeup. And when I found that article it might have been in a Guitar Player magazine, I don't know. But I'm reading this and I'm thinking, like, this is what I need. I need to learn some of the trade secrets. But you put on grease makeup, so it's oil-based, and then you're not going to sweat it off, but you have to powder it. When you powder it, it feels just like skin. I mean, you can actually scratch your skin, you can touch it, and you're not going to get white on your hands. It goes on much smoother, much nicer. But like I say, the silver is not a very good silver. I found it, but that's a water-based one. So I'd like to find a good quality silver and oil base, but it's maybe on eBay.
I had it on when I did the Ace Frehley that time. I had it on all day.
Yeah,
it was all day. So by the end of the day, every time I said a word or I just breathed, flakes of white came floating down around me.
So what were you using? Like cornstarch and water?
No. It was pretty decent makeup. I just had it on for think about it. When's the last time you had Kiss makeup on for 8 hours?
Yeah. And where this is grease paint, the first time I put it on, I did Gene Simmons. So I came home, I jumped in the shower, I just took a bar of soap, and I just started doing this, with the bar of soap. So I get out of the shower and I look at Jennifer and I said, "Is it all off?" She said, "Your face is just gray. You look like an alien from an old 50s B movie." What had happened was I didn't wash any of the makeup off. All I did was blended the white and the black, so I was just completely gray. I was Jeff Gray.
I just realized what I've become. I know what I've become.
So what you have to do with the oil based is you have to use baby oil, or Vaseline will take it off. It's a bit of a job taking it off, but it's so worth it to get some good quality makeup. And if you're in a larger city where you have access to theatrical supplies, if you're going to do any Kiss makeup, at least make sure your clown white is an oil-based clown white. Those cream makeups you see in Walmart, don't even buy them. Sometimes you can find them in sticks. You can find the oil grease paint in sticks, and that's an actual grease paint. If you can find those, they're even better.
Or you can do what I did, like I said, go to the local pharmacy and get there.
And you know what works well? There's a baby product. We call it bum cream. We used it when babies had rashes, but it's titanium in some kind of a oil-based medium. I'm not sure what it is, but if you could, if you've got a baby in the house and you have that white bum cream, and parents will know what I mean by bum cream. That's almost the same thing. I mean, just hope there's no poop in it. But anyway, you could use that. Again, powder it. You have to powder it, and that will work as well.
You heard it here first. Jeff is recommending you use the bum cream sans.
That's right, and then you make a total ass of yourself.
I know what. See, now I am. I just realized now I am now Kiss Zombie.
You're a Kiss Zombie.
See?
That could be a band, right? Kiss Zombie.
I think, definitely with a Kiss Zombie thing going on there. I've seen some neat pictures of that recently, actually. Taking the Kiss and turning into zombies. Well, this has been fun, I gotta say, and
What's that?
I don't know what we're gonna do next, but
yeah, I'm losing your audio again. I can't seem to connect with Jeff Gray again on Skype, so maybe I will wrap up our Halloween special, and we certainly hope that all those Kiss fans out there are going to put on some war paint and put on a nylon wig and get out there and enjoy Halloween, whether you're going to a party or maybe you're just taking the kids out trick-or-treating. You're never too old to dress up in Kiss makeup. And Kiss rocks, we all know that, and Halloween is just the perfect month to relive those childhood memories of being a Kiss fan and seeing Kiss on the Paul Lynde special, or seeing the Kiss Meets the Phantom, that House of Horrors scene for the first time. They're all associated with that October-November time of year. And it certainly is a special time of year. So anyway, on behalf of Jeff Gray in Stewiacke, Nova Scotia, this is Jeff Scott signing off for Watching You.